Hello, welcome back to Verdant. I'm Ellie Bear, head of socials. I'm joined with our team manager now, James Slimkins.
Hello.
So, just going to ask you a few questions. It's what I've asked the others. So, first of all, if you could give us a little bit of kind of like your esports background.
Yeah. So I was with Barrage Esports from not from its founding, but from the takeover when my brother Jeff obviously took over. I was working sort of more behind the scenes in general esports boy, as my role kind of was there, like a jack of all trades. I did all sorts of kind of team management, but never where I was the actual team manager kind of thing. So I've done a lot of player management. I've worked with League of Legends teams. Obviously, the first roster I ever actually properly picked up was the Raise Your Governors roster. And other than that, I've done Fortnite, Rocket League, Gears of War, a few other titles, and general sort of management stuff, but never my own project kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a bit of a first for me.
So, what was it about Verdant that drew you in?
So the first time, so obviously when Barrage and Resolve merged, um, quite a few of the staff didn't go over to Resolve, myself included, because as I say, I didn't really have a sort of proper role at that time. So yeah, and then I decided that I did want to actually, stick around in the UK scene. I didn't really want to just fade out with Barrage kind of thing. So I had the first sort of chat with Sam, and he told me about the project and his goals and how I fitted into that kind of thing. And to be honest, it sounded exactly like the kind of project that I wanted to be involved in anyway. So it didn't take a massive amount of convincing on my end. Um, Sam's a nice guy, and I think what he wants to do is probably very much in line with what I want to do. So
Yeah.
it it just felt right, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is it that you are specifically bringing to the team? I mean, Neo and Chu had some interesting responses to that, which
Yeah.
kind of will lead me on to my next question. But what is it that you're bringing to the team as the team manager?
I think my sort of reputation maybe and my history in the scene means that I generally have probably more contacts than Sam coming in at this level and having never worked really in UK League before. I think I bring that sort of knowledge and background that he didn't have. Um, you know, and I know quite a few players. I know the UK League of Legends scene really well. I've been around for a fair while now. But other than that, I think generally I bring a bit of composure and general man management, which you would hope for from a manager. But yeah, I think I'm quite personable. I'm happy to talk to people, and if any of the players or anything ever have any issues, then I'm always there to talk to people. And I think that's probably my greatest sort of strength is being able to like being a problem solver. Being amicable and
Yeah.
and being a middleman for people. Yeah.
So, how has it been working with Chu and Neo whilst getting the team all set up? How have the three of you been kind of tackling it? How has it been going?
Yeah, well, the first thing I kind of wanted to do when Sam brought me in as manager was I wanted to get the coaching staff in as kind of like first priority because while I know the UK scene and I know League of Legends fairly well, I'm not very good at it. I think that's quite a strong trend with most managers as well, is they're not very good at the game, and so we end up managing. So yeah, I wanted to get the coaches in first of all because I don't think I'm good enough at the game to say, oh yeah, that player's mechanics were great or whatever. Whereas I can bring them in and say, oh, he's a really nice lad. I've worked with him before or whatever. Whereas the coaches I can bring in and the coaches can say, yeah, and he's a really good player too. You know, so they bring a bit more actual game knowledge than me. But working with them has been really good so far. Like Ash is such a lovely lad. When we first spoke, Chew, I kind of liked him immediately, but we started talking about his past and the teams he's worked for and stuff like that. And I was initially like a bit skeptical because, you know, coming into the league scene with literally no prior experience in league, it's a completely different ball game, especially to having coached FPSs before. So I was a little bit skeptical at first, but he's so smart. Like, the lad is so clever, and he's so nice. And I just thought, like, yeah, we need to get him on board as quickly as possible. And then NeoS is, again, just so smart. Like, his drafting is insane. He's really intelligent. He knows, you know, all the general things that you would hope that a coach would know. Like, but in terms of drafting, holding picks and stuff and bans for people, and so both of them are so much smarter than me. Like, not to inflate their egos, because yeah, we don't need that. The price will go up if I tell them they're too good.
I'm sorry, I'm not editing it out. They're going to have to hear this.
That's fine.
So, just to round off the interview, I have 3 quick fire questions. I've asked the lads this, so it's always interesting to hear. So, first one is your favourite champion.
Favorite champion?
Yeah.
Sejuani.
That's an interesting one.
Man, I dragged myself from Iron to Silver with Sejuani, and just gotta love it, really, haven't you? Just CC for days. You don't have to do anything as a Sejuani jungler. Like, as long as you can stand in front of people and knock people up and not die, you're all good. Like,
so that's why everyone always asks Yankos to play Sejuani, because you don't have to do anything. That's fair.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
So,
and a notable second mention as well, on the theme of not doing anything, Mundo. He goes where he pleases.
Yeah, he does. He does. I haven't played him since the rework. The rework has just been, you know, it's been decimating. In games.
I've not touched him either. My baby, and I literally couldn't bring myself to do it.
I think I'm a little bit too scared. I mean, I was bad at Mundo the first time. Like, I think I'm just going to be even worse now.
Basically the same. Like, I don't think he's too different, but I don't know.
I'm in your shoes. I'm not very good at the game. That's why everybody else around me is kind of, you know, I'll let them take all the glory for it. What game is it that defines you? What was the game that made you think, yeah, this is my life. This is it. This is.
So I live in Blackpool, and Blackpool has a hotel called the Norbrook, which is kind of iconic, or infamous rather, in UK scene, not particularly League of Legends, but definitely in Call of Duty, for example. They used to have like some Call of Duty World League events and stuff like that at the Norbrook, and we'd gone for, I think it was called Play Expo at the time. So they did a mixture of like retro games and then other stuff, you know, sort of esports before it was esports kind of thing. So I attended one of those events, and I played in a Halo 2 tournament. I think it was a free-for-all tournament, and I came third. And I thought, damn, I'm actually really good at this game. Like, maybe I should do this more. Like, and then I think that tiny glimpse made me want to find out more about like competitive gaming in general. And I quickly realized, actually, I'm not very good at this. Like, I think I was just playing against rubbish people at that tournament, probably. So, but yeah, that kind of opened my eyes to the wider world of sort of competitive gaming and esports.
Yeah, did you and Jeff play a lot of games together? Well, obviously before, when you were younger.
Yeah, I mean, when we were first growing up, we had like a PS1 between us, kind of thing. So it was always a battle for getting on it. But I think the first sort of memory I have of gaming was playing as a Plo Koon on one of the Star Wars games, like on a PlayStation 1, and I absolutely loved that game. Like, I think I've always just enjoyed gaming anyway. I used to do like speed runs on Rayman and stuff like that too. So, and nowadays I struggle to play something unless it's like just an unbelievable single player experience. I struggle to play games that aren't competitive. Like, I feel like I need to be winning, or at least playing against people that are, you know, at my level, and trying to beat those people to feel like I'm enjoying games these days. Which, yeah, I try and avoid playing League as much as possible, because I think it's just, me personally, really bad for my mental. So I just touch League as little as possible.
You could always get Ash to teach you Valorant or Overwatch.
Yeah. Not too bad at Valorant. And I used to play a bit of Overwatch competitively back on Xbox. But then obviously the whole competitive scene for Overwatch went to PC, and I just kind of fell out of love with it at the time. But yeah, I'm sure if I tell Ash that, he won't be very happy.
Once again, I'm not editing this out. So, is there anybody in the esports scene that you look up
to? Yeah, I think there's probably quite a few people that I look up to. I mean, I think in terms of like, I wouldn't say I really look up to players kind of thing as much as like I admire the ability that they have and the commitment that players have. But I think in terms of people that I look up to, Jeff is basically like my main inspiration for esports. But I'd probably say that Froome is more like Froome is more like my mentor than Jeff kind of was in a weird way. Not that Jeff was ever horrible to me or told me not to do something, but just that since barrage isn't a thing anymore, Froome has taken more of an interest in my sort of management kind of thing, because Jeff's off doing his own stuff. So, but yeah, Froome's definitely one that I look up to, and I think he'll be back in NLC very shortly. I have to wait and see though. Maybe he could go higher.
Fair. And as an inside thing, have you decided what soup you would be?
Yeah, I already answered this in the group. I'd be tomato soup. The can that everyone has in their cupboard. Nobody gets it out specifically, but you come home, you've had a rough day, you fancy some soup. Oh yeah, I'll crack out the tomato. It's comforting. That's why. Yeah, comforting, always around, common as dirt.
Yeah,
summarizes me quite well.
I can accept that. So, as my last question, I know you obviously can't give anything away. How excited are you for the roster that we're pulling together at the moment?
Very. I think we've pissed the league. We're allowed to have that in?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we can have that in. So, should we be expecting Verdant World skins anytime soon, or?
Oh man, yeah. Give me another 5-6 years. We'll see what happens.
Well, that's all of my questions, but thank you so much for being brutally honest, open, and answering all of that. I really appreciate that.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was good.